Welcome to The Culture. We rest at the pulse of the community, providing all things news, music, fashion, events, and everything that we talk about in between. It's a lifestyle. We are The Culture. Hello and welcome to another edition of The Culture. I'm your host, Jessica Garrett-Motkins, and joining us as friend to the show, Dr. Steve Gallen, Vice Chair for Miami-Dade County Public School Board. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's been a long time. Thank you, Dr. Gallen, for coming back.
Glad to be back home, Jessica. The culture is home. To me, it's an opportunity for us to engage in not only discussions around education, but really address issues that are relevant to the community, to the state, to the nation, to the world, but at the end of the day, to address issues that are relevant to the culture. So it's always exciting to come back and engage with you in meaningful discussions that are going to be of empowerment, education, and elevation of our community. Before we get into our discussion, I want to again congratulate you for the tremendous amount of success that you and your company is experiencing, not only at the local level, but quite frankly around the country. Your hard work is tremendously paying off, and it's always a pleasure to be a part of that and to serve witness to the benefits and the fruits of your labor being realized. I've always believed that success comes before work only in the dictionary, and you are realizing these levels of success because of the hard work that you're putting forward on so many fronts relative to media, marketing, and just overall engagement of the community in the work that you do. So again, congratulations to you and your team, and look forward to your continued success.
Thank you, Dr. Gallen. Thank you. We are busy. We stay busy. We try to stay ready, as Drake says, so we don't have to get ready. And that is hard work, as you said. So thank you. I appreciate you. You see us. You see us. It's something to be seen. Something to be seen. And then, Dr. Gallen, you have created an additional platform for yourself. You have your television show, which we have seen. Tell us about that.
Yes, very, very proud to have now completed the 5th episode of Real Talk with Dr. Steve Gallen III. It's an opportunity for us to engage specifically around educational issues, but we know that education is not an issue that is isolated to schools, to school districts, but education is an issue that is relevant to the community. So it provides a platform, it provides a voice for educators, for community stakeholders, for those who are concerned about the education and empowerment of our children, and most importantly, the elevation of our community, and to give us an opportunity to inform the public about some of the nuances of our bureaucracy, some of the nuances of our policy, but also some of the challenges that we face and some of the opportunities that we have if we work together on behalf of one goal, and that is to improve the learning and lives of our students. So Real Talk with Dr. Steve Gallen III is the show. That's the link. That's the domain, and we're very excited to be able to offer that as an opportunity to engage the public.
And how often can people view this show? And is shown on that website that you just gave?
Yes, it's on that website. That's the platform. The show is scheduled once a month. We're getting increased requests to expand it, but again, we want to be very targeted as relates to what the issues that we talk about. And so we are going to continue that pace of a monthly show, but it's going to be available on the site, so you can go back and look at previous episodes. And we're just looking forward to continuing to grow this as a platform and as an opportunity to provide, again, voice for educators and for all who are students, all who are concerned about the education as a public interest, as a public platform, and as a public priority. And so you can go to the website, see previous episodes, and again, stay tuned to what's coming up next.
Nice. And I believe before the last time we spoke, you all were about to bring in a new superintendent. Please tell us how that's going.
Oh, absolutely. We culminated the search despite some of the rancor, despite some of the cacophony around that particular process. We yielded who the board felt was the most qualified, most proven, most experienced educators, who is no stranger to Miami-Dade County Public Schools, having served 3 decades, 30 years in our district, and took a brief hiatus up in Collier County as the deputy superintendent. But this has been home to him. He's been a teacher a principal, a region director, region superintendent, chief of staff, curriculum leader, human capital officer. He has worked at every level of our organization and really understands the nuances of this community, the nuances of our district, but most importantly, he understands the mechanics of education as relates to teaching and learning, and that must be our priority, and that priority must be reflected in our leadership. So we're very excited to have Dr. Jose Dotris, again, who I was very, very supportive of at the onset, and we're very, very proud of how he has transitioned into his new role as the superintendent of Miami-Dade County Public Schools, our nation's fourth largest school district.
Yes, congratulations on that. And then we are at the close of the school year. And as every term ends, you have been asked to be the commencement speaker at a number of high school graduations. Tell us, what are some of the jewels that you're giving to students this year?
Yeah, this has been a tradition of me, and most people kind of say I have become somewhat of the speaker. But I'm usually asked to give greetings and words of encouragement and reflection to the graduates. But again, this is a very nostalgic moment for me, Jessica having been a high school principal for 7 years. So I've had an opportunity over the course of my career, the majority of my career, whether I was 7 years as a principal, whether I was 3 years at the district here in Dade County, and whether I was 3 years as a superintendent of schools, and now entering into my 5th year as a school board meeting. So you do a school board member. So you do the 5 plus the 7 plus the 3. You get the picture. This has been a part of my life. This has been a part of my DNA. And what I simply remind the students is that despite the celebrations, despite the applause, despite the misperception that the end of the school year marks the ending of something, commencement actually marks the beginning. It is the beginning of a new journey of not simply learning, but life. A life that is going to be significantly different, but a life that we believe that they're better prepared for due to the foundation that we provided for them over the course of 13 years in the Miami-Dade County Public Schools. So it's always a very exciting time for our educators who get to see the culmination of their hard work, and that is the ROI, the return on their investment of time, talent, treasure, teaching, learning, and love. So that's an opportunity for me to spread that message. And I try to do it in a very targeted way, specific to the school, specific to the mission of that school, and really speak the language of the students that they can understand and have them to have a message that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives. And believe it or not, over 20 plus years later, I still have students who I was their principal, who are now principals in the district now. Some of my former high school students are principals, believe it or not, but they can always come back and review, they're always reminded of some of the messaging that I conveyed to them during that time. So words have power, and I'm just prayerful that God will continue to give me the right words to say at the right time to the right audience for the right reason. And I'll have a word to give today at 3 o'clock down at FIU to the graduating seniors of North Miami Beach Senior High School, a school that is new to my district based on redistricting.
Nice. So I know for a fact you're going to bring words of encouragement and direction. And like you said, they're going to last. They're going to be able to hold on to your word. You have a gift. God speaks through you, and is very evident. Every time you open your mouth, it comes with power. So that's a gift, and it also comes with it a lot of weight, where you have to be mindful of the things that you say. But neither here nor there. We are excited to see these commencement addresses that you're going to be delivering.
I am deeply honored, humbled, and truly blessed to stand here in person as your school board vice chair and District 1 school board representative. Before I begin, I would like to thank God for his protection and provision, and for keeping his promise to all of us during the past year as our community, state, nation, and world. Today reflects one of the most special moments you will ever experience in your lives. I know that each of you is here with a sense of great anticipation and excitement for what you may believe is the culmination of your anxiety, your hard work, your study, your focus, your frustration, your sacrifice, and your dedication over the course of the past 13 years. Today does not mark the end, it marks the beginning. Commencement, by its mere definition, means to start anew.
Now, let's talk from a statewide standpoint. Tallahassee, I believe one of the last times we talked, there was an issue about funding. There is now this ongoing discussion about the Don't Say Gay legislation.
We're going to respect the individuality of not only our students, but our employees as well, because they have rights. We handle it as we'll handle anything that a parent has a concern about. If a parent has a concern about an issue, whether it's a school grade, whether it's an attendance issue, whether it's a bullying issue, any issues that a parent have a concern about, we have procedures and policies to govern how that's addressed. I don't think the law gets into the nuances of a photograph of a partner on a desk. So we're not going to go down a rabbit hole that does not exist in the law. We're going to follow the letter of the law. We're going to respect the individual.
How are you navigating with these things here locally?
You know, Tallahassee, and quite frankly, politics around the country has become a very partisan issue. As you know, school boards are nonpartisan, although partisan politics have sought to seep their way into our work, into our policy-making decisions. I've been extremely blessed to have colleagues on the board who leave their partisanship behind and really focus on issues that we are united in, and that those are issues that speak to the learning, the safety and the welfare of our students, and the engagement of our parents and community members in this particular process. But yes, let's face it, there has been tremendous partisanship in Tallahassee, but our board has been steadfast in making sure that we were resolute in decisions that we had to make. But I must say that Tallahassee, despite some of the challenges and some of the cacophony and the rancor around educational issues, they did well this year as it relates to educational funding. I've been one to lament for decades, and having been a superintendent out of state where the per pupil student funding is over double what we get in the state of Florida. It's no secret that the state of Florida has had an abysmal record in terms of per pupil funding. But I will say that over the past several years, and even most recently in the recent legislative session, that there have been some tremendous investments in education to move our base student allocation and our overall funding for education up various levels. Yes, we have a ways to go, but I must say that the funding enhancements are much needed. The funding provisions are much appreciated, and the funding opportunities are going to be significant as we address not only the learning of our students, Jessica, but the mental and emotional health of our students as we continue to transition out of the pandemic and go in and out of the pandemic as we deal with a number of issues that have devastated families and communities around this country. So tremendous resources are going to be needed. We were able to get resources from the federal government, $1.2 billion, of which I have led the charge in terms of ensuring that we are accountable to those funds and that they're utilized appropriately. But the funding issue has been enhanced tremendously. As it relates to some of the legislation that has been somewhat divisive, we are resolute that we teach and we embrace and we love all students. We embrace and love and appreciate and respect all people, all employees. So any issues that appear to be somewhat divisive, our board has been resolute in having no part of it. We stand in solidarity in terms of equity, fairness, respect, and again, love. And we're going to continue to do that moving forward on behalf of our students. This is not simply an educational issue. This is a human issue. In some cases, it's a privacy issue. And we want to make sure that we respect and embrace parents, that we provide opportunities to engage students in a very age-appropriate way, but that we in no shape, form, or fashion prohibit student expression, teacher expression, and those rights guaranteed under the Constitution of the United States, which those rights do not stop at the schoolhouse door.
Dr. Gallen, let's stay looking from a statewide perspective and how it is affecting us locally. There was some discussion about reclassification of Florida high school sports. We discussed it a couple of shows back. Where are we with that?
Well, we're further along as a board, but I think we've taken a tremendous step back as an association, which is the Florida High School Athletic Association. Let's face it, a couple of years ago, I proffered an item to challenge their classification of our schools. They conceded to that challenge and classified them according to their own bylaws. And 7 out of 8 of our schools won state titles in football that year, and we continued to run the tables. I guess they decided to pivot once again to adjust their bylaws to change the classification criteria, and now they established what is called a metro, urban, and suburban classification system. That, to me, becomes a tale of two cities. You establish much more of a segregated system of competition based on, yes, demographics, based on economics, based on location. But again, we are supposed to be focused on a unified system of opportunity, a unified system of competition. But what they did was something that I felt was a tremendous setback. But guess what? The law does not require us or mandate us to participate. So I continued down the pathway of ensuring that our policy positions provide the flexibility that is guaranteed in the law. The law guarantees that a school is not obligated to participate in the Florida High School Athletic Association. The law says a district is not required to participate in the Florida High School Athletic Association. But what we had to do was amend our policy to align with that law. And guess what? Unanimously supported. I proffered an item, and our policy position will be aligned to that flexibility, and we will no longer be mandated to participate. We have a ways to go in terms of what options that we'll explore, but we have had a test with the South Florida Championship Series that was quite successful, involving Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County, who have been partners in this particular position. So we want to continue to make sure that we put our student athletes in our schools and our district in the best possible position from a fiscal, competition, and obviously an equitable standpoint. And the Florida High School Athletic Association did neither of those things. And so we're going to move forward with a position of solidarity, but a position of independence, and make a decision on how we're going to proceed moving forward.
Now, we discussed this earlier that we're at the close of the school year. Many parents may not have decided what they're going to do with their children this summer. There are offerings that the county is still going to provide, which again, when we talked about summer school, I think back in summer school and summer offerings from the county level, it might have been in 2020. We both acknowledged the fact that there weren't very many things that were being offered the way that we grew up. And then you all made this change, this financial change, to be able to provide these offerings to parents and continue learning during the summer. Can you tell us what parents can expect for this summer session?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it became a resource issue, but as I indicated, the federal government through ESSER funds, through the American Rescue Plan Act, have provided tremendous resources for us to support the education and engagement of our students, not simply from an academic standpoint, but from an enrichment standpoint. So we're excited to continue the launching of Summer 305. This will be a K through 12 opportunity for our students to get academic remediation, credit recovery, to satisfy requirements for promotion and graduation in some instance, but also an opportunity for students to have some good old fun during the summer. So we're going to expand opportunities in the arts and other programming. We have tremendous partners such as the Children's Trust that will be offering a robust menu of programming for our students in the community. We have other partners with Career Source. Shout out to Rick Beasley and those that continue to provide internship opportunities for our students. So there are a tremendous menu, a myriad of opportunities for students to engage during the summer. And what we want to always do is give parents a choice. They can learn or they can chill, or they can do both. But again, it's not because there are not opportunities out there, and we have to take advantage of those as much as we can while the resources are available.
Dr. Gallen, we've been following you, of course, on social media, and you have dropped 2 books.
Yeah, following the launch of part 2 of Light Found in the Dark, there had been a request for me to actually what we call as a relaunch because some of these narratives date back to 2003 and 2006. But nearly 20 years later, some of the issues are still relevant, they're still salient, and now we have a totally new audience of people who are interested in this work. So we relaunched Educating with Love and Without Compromise, which is the first book in the series. And When Morning Comes, Moments of Struggle, Strength, and Salvation. One person commented on this book, this is 400 pages of fire. 400 pages of fire. This is about 200 pages of flames, but obviously things get to be hotter at the next level. These books reflect an integration of my experiences growing up in Liberty City, which is in the book called a city called Freedom First. My experience as the youngest principal in the history of Dade County. In this book, we start out with Holmes Elementary School. So this is Holmes Elementary School's story. We transition on the last page of this book to the first page of this book. And we move to Miami Northwestern Senior High School and deal with issues that were happening around the country. And sadly, not to give it away, some of the issues that we talked about happening during this particular time when I was a principal just recently happened in Uvalde, Texas. And it's just really a sad commentary. So When Morning Comes is a story of hope, inspiration, faith, and optimism, in that despite how dark things are, despite the cacophony and the challenges and the darkness, morning will come. Morning will come. We will free ourselves from the struggle. We will find the strength, and not only in education, but in this community, and I believe in this world as a member of humanity, we will find our salvation. So those are the moments of struggle, strength, and salvation. And I submit that the winds of possibility, they still blow. The winds of possibility, they still blow. But at some point, we have to be silent to hear them. So When Morning Comes, Educating with Love Without Compromise, these are part of the Light Found in the Dark series, which this is going to be a 4-part documentary. Parts 1 and 2 have already been released. They're available for viewing online, and we're wrapping up part 3. We'll be obviously concluding with part 4. But you can go to Amazon.com and you could find more information about these books. They are available on Kindle as well. So looking forward to the feedback, and everybody's excited about an opportunity to once again resurrect a real hard-hitting, realistic narrative about my life growing up and my service to this community as a lifelong educator.
Congratulations, Steve. Congratulations. You never cease to amaze me. Never cease to amaze me. We're going to drop the links for those 2 books so that you all don't have any problems in trying to find them. You'll be able to get the link for those right here at The Culture. And then we'll also drop a more in-depth review of the books on theculture.xyz. Stay tuned for that. Dr. Gallant, as always, it's a pleasure for you stopping by. We won't keep you. We know you are a busy man, and we appreciate you dropping by to give us an update on all of the things that you're doing to advance our children here in Miami-Dade County.
Well, thank you so much, Jessica. And that advancement cannot take place alone. We can never lead alone. That advancement can only take place if we stand in support, we stand in strength, and we stand in solidarity. But at the end of the day, that we stand together. So it's always important to me, and it's always appreciative to stand with you and your team from The Culture as we move the agenda for our children, for our community, but as we move the agenda for our culture. Love you, sister. Continued success. And until next time, let's work.
Yes, let's work.
First 4 years, it was let's go.
Yeah.
Next iteration, it's let's work. We got work to do.
We got work to do. And Culture family, come back and join us tonight at 6 p.m. Grab a drink for the shenanigans. We'll check you out right here at 6 p.m. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Video Mix TV for another edition of My 2 Cents. We'll see you next week.
The Culture is produced and owned by the Culture Media Group and cannot be reproduced or broadcast without written consent. All rights reserved 2022.